Here we go. Found it now. There we go. Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Racing Podblast with me, Tony Mack, and Ben Aiken from Narrow in the Field. And we banged in another tasty forecast last weekend with two of our three picks filling first and second in the Handicap hurdle at Ascot, returning a forecast of 64-1. Happy days indeed, and we're sticking with the handicaps again this week with the Grand Sefton from Aintree and the Badger Beer Handicap from Wincanton over the sticks, and as well as the November Handicap on the flat before taking our usual spin up to Scotland for our football trixie battle, top, middle and bottom, where one of us landed the full 3 trixie last week. Excellent stuff. Racing first though, and we started Aintree. We're off over the national fences, or what's left of them, for the Grand Sefton Handicap Chase. First of our 3 races under analysis this week. Ben, welcome along, mate, and can you start us off with that one?
Yes, Tony. Hello. Grand Sefton, first sight of the national fences this season in the Sefton. A few some interesting profiles lining up. I settled on a short list of Percussion, Richmond Lake, Outlaw Peter and Vintage Fizz. Percussion finished second in this last year off a £1 lower mark, and third the year before off a £4 higher mark. And he's a horse always worth looking out for when going over the national fences. He's run over them 4 times previously and recorded a second and 3 thirds. Clearly handles them really well. He's not actually won a race since banging in back-to-back wins at Southall back in April and May 2022. He's on a bit of a losing streak, but you have to think he'll be on the premises again over the national fences. Percussion. Richmond Lake, he's of interest because he's now back on his last winning handicap mark, which came over the regulation entry fences at the December meeting last season. Conditions will be bang in his favour here. Class 2 level and below, a mark of 142 or below. A left-handed track in a field of less than 16, where Richmond Lake is 7 wins, a close second and a close third from 9 starts. He's also won on 2 of his 3 seasonal debut runs for Donald McCain, so we know his trainer can get him ready to fire first time up. So Richmond Lake looks interesting at big prices. Outlaw Peter, he had a fruitful first term over fences last season, 3 wins in 3 places from 7 starts. He's got strong form of breaks of more than 90 days, 3 wins in 2 seconds from 5 starts, so he should be ready to fire here for seasonal debut. He's also running off a wind-up, the second of his career. Last time he ran off a wind-up, he won a maiden hurdle by 11 lengths. A very different challenge here, naturally, but at least we have evidence of him previously improving for the wind-up. Also worth noting that he was last seen running second by Martador, who came out and won the Burn Group Chase at Ascot last week off a £7 higher mark. So safe to say, Outlaw Peter bumped into one on his final start of the campaign last season. And Vintage Fizz is the other on my shortlist. He finished 4th in the Bobby Renton at Weatherby last month. He was still bang there at the final fence in that one before fading out of things close to line. Don't think Weatherby's a track he enjoys all that much, so it's probably a better run than it looked. And he has conditions to suit here. Handicaps on a left-handed track from a mark of 127 or below, where he is 4 wins in 2 places from 9 starts. So Vintage Fizz could go well at a price here. And I'm looking to play 2 in this, and the 2 I'm going to side with are Outlaw Peter, who I think still has more to offer this season, and Richmond Lake, who's back on a winnable mark and has conditions to suit. So Outlaw Peter and Richmond Lake for me. Tony, what you got for the Grand Sefton?
Yeah, 13 go to post here, Ben, and I'm with you on both of those. Outlaw Pete for trainer Paul Nichols, last seen finishing second of 9. Beaten 7 lengths behind Martador, as you said, who last week won a big Saturday TV race. Alex Ferguson is one of the owners of Outlaw Pete, Peter, so a bit of added interest for ITV Racing there, a bit for Ed to get excited about as the camera pans onto Sir Alex in the paddock. The trainer Paul Nicholls has won this race on 3 occasions from 18 runners in the race, another 3 hitting the frame. Rebel Rebellion 11 years ago, as Demi in 2016, with Warrior's Tale landing the spoils in 2018. So he's due another winner, is Paul Nicholls. And also Richmond Lake in the colours of Hemmings Racing, as it's known now, for trainer Donald McCain. It must be said the trainer's been out of luck in this race without a winner from 10 runners. But Richmond Lake ticks a lot of boxes for ground, class, track and trip. It must be said, though, that the win at Aintree was not over these fences. So at Richmond Lake at a decent price. I do around 10 to 1 for Outlaw Peter, and Richmond Lake around 22 to 1 in over the Grand Sefton, over the Grand National fences. And best luck to our good friend Matt Bisogno, as well as the GG's team, who run Sure Touch tomorrow in the race for trainer Ollie Murphy, and Sean Bowen is in the saddle. Best luck to Matt and all the GG's team there. Moving on, 3:30 at Wincanton, Badger Beer Handicap Chase, Class 1 event over 3 miles, 1 furlong. Your thoughts on this, the Badger Beer Handicap Chase, Ben?
Yeah, 3 catch my eye in this day in handicap. The Changing Man, Mofasa and Forward Plan. The Changing Man brings an unexposed profile, chasing profile to the table. This being only his 6th chase start, only his 3rd handicap chase start. Starts the season on a mark of 130, and you'd be disappointed if he didn't have plenty more improvement to come from there. He started last season off by finishing 2nd in a Class 2 novice at Exeter. He split Stay Away Fate and Grey Dawning that day. He faced that pair of level weights, and they are now rated 153 and 157. So on that piece of form alone, you'd be very hopeful that 130 is a good way below the ceiling of the Changing Man's abilities. He also comes here off a wind-up. The last couple of years, Joe Tizard runners in handicaps on 1st or 2nd run of the season, on 1st run off a wind-up, are 7 winners and 2 placed from 16 qualifiers. So a positive on the trainer stats there for the Changing Man. I definitely see why he's sitting near the head of the market. My only small niggle would be that all his wins to date have come left-handed. I think he's okay right-handed, possibly just a little bit better left-handed, but he's got to have a big chance in this, the Changing Man. Mufasa is Paul Nicholls' sole runner in this, a race he's dominated over the years. He's won 11 of the last 25 renewals, had a further 11 place. All were having their 1st or 2nd run of the season, like Mufasa. So we can expect the 8-year-old to be ready to fire here. He's a horse that disappointed badly in his final 3 starts of the campaign last season, but he might just be a horse with a strong monthly pattern to his name. In September to November, he's 3 wins and a place from 6 starts. In all other months, he's 0 wins and 1 place from 5 starts. So that could possibly explain his poor form after winning at Huntingdon around this time last year. The upside of those poor efforts is that he's now back on the same mark as the one he won off at Huntingdon this time last year. I can definitely see him bouncing back to form in this, Mufasa. And Forward Plan, he finished 6th in this last year. And although he's racing from a £6 higher mark this time around, he probably does have a better chance this year. The race didn't really play to his strengths. Last year, he was the only hold-up horse to lay down any sort of challenge that day. The race suiting those ridden more prominently. Looks a bit more pace on in this renewal, so I reckon there's plenty of chance of Forward Plan getting a decent toe into the race. He also has prime conditions to shoot for. Trips of 3 miles or further, running off breaks of more than 25 days, where he has 5 wins and 4 places from 10 starts. I think Forward Plan looks a little overpriced at 9 to 1 or bigger. Not easy to kind of split that 3 on my shortlist, but I'm going to side with Mofasa. I reckon this will be his Gold Cup. He looks one that you need to catch on his 1st or 2nd run of the season. I think Nicholls will have him ready to fire here. Mofasa probably also have an each-way dabble on Forward Plan as well. So Mofasa and Forward Plan. Tony, what you got for the Badger beer?
I've got a couple of outsiders, first of all, that I like, Ben. Risk in the Ground, Harry and Dan Skelton here, 14-1. Had a very, very busy summer jumping campaign as Risk in the Ground, the 7-year-old, off a mark of 134. It's his highest mark over the larger obstacles. He was last seen at the Cheltenham October meeting a couple of weeks ago, finishing third of 11, beating 2 3/4 lengths. In that race on good ground. Is possibly the key to him is good ground, given his summer jumping campaign. I also like, as you say, Forward Plan, Anthony Honeyball, Ben Godfrey in the saddle, who rides this quite regular as well, Forward Plan. He was last seen at Aintree back in April in a handicap chase. Formerly known as the Freebooter handicap chase, but we've seemed to have forgot our olden stars lately. It was a grade 3 handicap as well, so it's worth keeping an eye on. Finished third of 13 there, beating 2 and a bit lengths behind Cruise Control. And I will be dutching the Changing Man and Mofasa tomorrow. I'm absolutely with you once again here at the top of the market. The Changing Man, last seen at Utoxeter in the Bet365 Novices Handicap Chase over 3 miles back in March, finishing second of 7 behind Regal Blue as the 3-1 beaten favourite that day. I think he can improve on that. And Mufasa for Paul Nicholls and Harry Cobden. Great record in this, of course, this race. The Badger Beers, last seen in April in the Novices Champion Handicap Chase at Ayr when he was pulled up, but he's better than that behind Sarja of all horses as well at around 12-1. He wasn't fancied that day. He does tend to run well around this time, as you noted there, winning at Huntingdon last November, just the 5th of November, probably exactly 12 months ago. So Mufasa and Changing Man as a Dutch for me there. Forward Plan possibly, and Risk the Ground probably an each-way shout for me in the 3:30 at Wincanton. 3:45, back on the flat we go. It's the final big handicap of the year, of course. Run at Doncaster. It's the November handicap, Class 2 contest over 1 mile, 4 furlongs. Ben, give us a few stats for the November handicap.
Yeah, November handicap, last big field handicap of the season for us to get stuck into. I've narrowed the field down to Valvano, Minstrel Knight, Insanity and Beamish. Valvano, easily the least exposed to the field. This only his 5th career start, only his 2nd in a handicap. A decent race on handicap debut at York last time out. Finished 3rd behind Bolster, who won a listed contest at Newmarket last weekend on his next start. Valvano's trainer, Ralph Beckett. Did I call him Ralph? Rafe Beckett.
King Ralph.
King Ralph.
Starlust. Last Saturday. Can't stop training winners.
Rafe Beckett has some solid stats with his 3 and 4-year-olds in Doncaster handicaps over 1 mile 4 or shorter, especially those that were not making seasonal debuts since 2019. Beckett, with those types, is 9 wins and 6th placed from 29 qualifiers. 31% win strike rate, 52% win and play strike rate, over 38 points profit. Valvano qualifies here. I definitely get the appeal with Valvano. At Minstrel Knight, he's another unexposed type, one firmly on the up. He comes here off the back of 2 wins, both over 1 mile 6. Shoot-off conditions to suit. Off breaks of 30 days or less, over 1 mile 2 and further. He has 3 wins in 2 places from 5 starts. Handles ground with cutting it as well. His last 2 wins coming on soft and heavy. His trainer, Ed Bethel, he's got some decent stats with his last time out winning 3-year-olds in turf handicaps, especially those that had run within the past 45 days. He's 16 wins and 10 placed from 53 qualifiers with those types. 30% win strike rate, 49% win and play strike rate. Minstrel Knight qualifies here. Insanity failed to fire at York last time out when fancied, but that's the 2nd time he's failed to run his race at York. So I wonder if he maybe just doesn't enjoy the Knavesmire. He's better judged on his 2 runs at Ascot prior to that York run, especially his 2nd at the track in July. That race has worked out really well since. The winner, Mount Atlas, ran 2nd in a viable Class 2 on his next run. The 3rd horse, Table Talk, won the Melrose handicap on his next start. The 5th, Burdett Road. He's since won a listed contest by 8.5 lengths. And the 6th, Wonder Kid, won a handicap at Newmarket by 7.5 lengths on his next run. So strong form there. And on that run alone, I'd be inclined to give Insanity a chance to prove he's better than his York effort last time out. And Beamish, he's the other on my shortlist. He's not shown much this season since moving to Archie Watson, but his runs have all been over 1 mile 6 or 2 miles. In fact, 4 of the 6 have come over 2 miles. I think this drop back to 1 mile 4 looks worth a try. He's been sliding down the handicap in recent starts. His current mark of 98 is 11 pounds below his peak mark, so he's well handicapped on his best form. And conditions look suitable for him here. Over 1 mile 4 or 1 mile 6 in races worth less than 55 grand to the winner, and off breaks of more than 25 days, Beamish is 3 wins and 2 places from 5 starts, and this is the first time he's had those conditions since with Archie Watson. So Beamish is at the very least an interesting outsider, and I'm going to take a swing at a couple at decent prices here with Insanity at 16 to 1 and Beamish at 33 to 1. Most firms paying 5 places, some paying 6, one paying 7 places. So Insanity and Beamish for me. Tony, what you got for the November handicap?
Good stuff, mate. I like the, I must say, Austrian Theory for Tim Easterby as a course winner back in 2021 and has won on soft ground as well. But he doesn't make the shortlist. I think Minstrel Night will lead the pack from those drawn in the top half of the draw with, I think it'll advantage those racing prominently just in behind before making their move for home. The 2 in question I have now is Beamish. Ben.
Ooh,
yes. For trainer Archie Watson, Kieran Schumacher in the saddle. 6-year-old is a distance winner as well as victory on soft ground at Killarney in 2022 and a fine 3rd of 9, beaten just a quarter of a length on soft ground at Leopardstown in a Group 3 contest again in 2022. And I reckon he could pinch a place for Sky Bet are paying 7 places. He's 25 to 1, 7 places with Sky Bet. Bet 365, 33 to 1, 6 places at the minute. I think he can finish in the first 6 without a doubt. And for King Ralph, Valvano for trainer Rafe Beckett, who is having a stellar season. We've just come out of Rafetober and now into November, but the man still can't stop training winners. He's won an arc with Blue Stocking and saddled the winner of the Breeders' at the Breeders' Cup last Saturday. So for me, Beamish at 40 to 1 or 33 to 1 it is now. Valvano at 7 to 1 for the November handicap. I don't think there's others. Maybe simply Sondheim for listeners to have another look at. He's drawn well in 19, could go well. I think he's been running over wrong distances. Simply Sondheim, and I can't believe you've dumped Waxing Gibbons. What's up with the Gibbon?
I don't know. Just said I didn't fancy waxing any Gibbons.
Watch him go win tomorrow.
Probably, yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. All right. Thank you for that, Ben. Waxing Gibbons, he's ignoring Waxing Gibbons. Can't believe it. All right. Time for top, middle and bottom. Here we go.
Great thing about loving football is you cannot explain why you love it. It just happens. Chasing a ball round a park, wanting one team to win against the other.
El Mahoney, right foot, whips it. Oh, jeez, he peeps, man.
Time for round 15, top, middle and bottom. How did we get on last week, Ben?
2 winners for me last week, a profit of plus 2.82. One team let me down. Guess who? Yep, it was Clyde. Don't even deserve a GG peeps for that. I'm done. But Tony, 3 winners. Phil Trixie landed a profit of plus 15.07. Lovely stuff, big man. Lovely stuff. Nailed it. Current totals, me plus 10.38, Tony minus 16.8, but you halved that deficit. Well, one swing last week.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. One of them, back in profit. My top, middle and bottom this week is top Queen's Park to beat Dunfermline at 23-20. Dunfermline, they've tightened things up a bit recently, but not been great on the road. 4 losses and a draw from their 5 away matches so far, only managing 2 goals. I think Queen's Park can take advantage of that here, get back to winning ways. They like to keep things tight at home, only conceded 3 so far, so I will take Queen's Park to sneak a tight win here. Middle, Cove Rangers to beat Cali Thistle at 3-2. Cove are starting to motor now. 4 wins in a row, 9 scored, none conceded. Cali, understandably, struggling, winning 1 of their last 8, detached at the bottom after a points deduction. This will be a tough match for them, so Cove Rangers for the win here. Bottom, East Fife to beat Stranraer at 1-2. East Fife should have too much for Stranraer here. They've won 5, drawn 1 of their home matches this season. They've scored 17, conceded only 3. Stranraer have lost 5 of their 6 away matches. They've only managed 3 goals in those matches. So East Fife to round things off for me. Give me a top, middle and bottom of top Queen's Park, middle Cove Rangers, and bottom east of the Fife. Tony, what you got?
I've got the same as you for the top one, Queen's Park and Dunfermline, 23-20. I thought that was far too big. And we both typed it on the script at the same time. Bizarre.
I did notice that.
Bizarre.
Weird.
And that's scary, that, isn't it? And Kelty Hearts at home to Dumbarton at 7-5, goes without saying. And at the bottom, Elgin away at Bonnie Prince Charlie. They're known this week 7-4. Elgin away at Bonnie Prince Charlie at 7-4. So Queen's Park at 23-20, Kelty Hearts 7-5, Elgin at 7-4. That's my top, middle, and bottom for this week.
The Rosie Posey will be after you, Tony. It's the Rosie Posey or the Bonnie Rig Rose Mafia.
They're all right. I've had a word. I got permission off them.
They'll be all right then. You're fine. You're sorted.
Many thanks for listening to the latest edition of the Racing Podblast. Very best of luck with your bets over the jumps and on the flat this week. Thank you to loyal listeners, and also thanks to listeners, new listeners as well. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you enjoy the quickness of it. 3 races, quickly covered, and then we have a little bit of fun. Don't forget, it is only for fun, the top, middle and bottom. It's a little bit lighthearted at the end of each show. If you're up nice and early in the mornings during the week, you can catch my breakfast show on 3bsradio.com, and you can catch more from Ben over on nowinthefield.co.uk. Big thanks for listening this week. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll see you all next week. Thanks, Ben, for joining us.
Cheers, Tony.